Hello and welcome back to First Impressions. This is the show where my co-host Dash Hooper and I evaluate a new album each week with a few simple ground rules. First, it must be an album we've never heard before. Second, we're only allowed to play it once. After that, we rate it in a variety of categories. So the album we're looking at today is Midnights, the 2022 album by Taylor Swift. And also tonight, we are joined by a special guest, DM Ray Jameson. How are you doing tonight?
Life is good, man. I'm happy to do new and different things, and that includes reviewing a Taylor Swift album.
Yes, because that's something that all of us needed to have in our lives, and we can feel fulfillment over this. So, Dash, I blame you. I'm going to say that.
But go ahead.
So this
Blame
is you.
me.
Don't ever make her read Game of Thrones. So, yeah, so this album's perfect for you. That's
Perfect.
What they're saying. So, yes. So, Dash.
I wanted to cross it off my bucket list, so.
Yeah. So as we talk about this album, we'll remember it's all Dash's fault. And, that's our simple motto. Our takeaway of the day is blame Dash. So
Amen.
Let me see. Trying to find. There we go. Well, you get my finish line logo right on you, Dash. So
That's all right.
That's the way we're going. All right. So we always start our show with a little history of the artist. And if you haven't heard of Taylor Swift, I would love to hang out in the rock you live under, because it's pretty impossible not to at least know her, because she's the hugest artist. She's playing the biggest shows. But what's a little bit of her history? So if you know anything about her, she started as a country artist. Now, Dash would argue not a real country artist. He's going to call it that pop bullshit country. And, he might not be wrong, but I'm not a country aficionado, so I'm not one to judge. I'm like, hey,
I definitely might argue that.
Country's country to me, but I think, as country fans, they didn't really embrace her, although I guess 200 million albums sold, 12 Grammys. She's been embraced just fine. And she's not going to cry over Dash not calling her real country, because really she's not any country now. But
yeah,
she was born. She's born December 13th in 1989 in Reading, Pennsylvania. And she had a love for music early on, performed at fairs, wrote songs starting as a teen. And when she was 14, she moved to Nashville, signed with Big Machine Records, and started making fake country for Dash to scowl at. So in 2008, she was featured. She released her second album, Fearless, and it had the song that the first one I ever heard from her, You Belong With Me. So that was her first kind of country smash, made her explode. That's where I finally heard her. I'm not saying if that's a good or bad thing, one way or the other, but that's where I heard her. Fearless, that album won 4 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year. She was the youngest one to win it. As I said earlier, she has won 12 Grammys altogether, so she's racking those awards up. And after 1989, after that album, she kind of went and became a pop singer. And that's where I heard her a lot with Shake It Off, Blank Space. I think those were the ones I heard the most. You can walk anywhere without hearing those songs. And that one earned her 3 more Grammys. So when she released that album in 2014, 1989, which is confusing, I'm yelling out years, but she would not have been born in 1989. So I guess she got it from TV, what she thinks 1989 was like.
I guess
so. She followed it with Reputation and Lover, selling millions of albums in a time when people don't sell millions of albums. So that's one of those things that's pretty impressive, is the fact that here she is still selling millions of albums in a time when people stream their albums. They don't buy physical media.
Credit given where it's due.
Yeah, the fact that she can sell 20 million albums in, the era where people just stream their stuff on Spotify, that's a major feat. The album era kind of died when Napster came in and crushed it, because people, they stopped going to the record store. They started going to their computer, and that's how people processed and listened to music. So the fact that she's still out there, multi-platinum albums, it's something. So she released 2 albums in 2020 that were more folk albums. And those ones, I'll be honest, I listened to them. I like them because she collaborated with indie artists that I enjoy. So The National and Bon Iver, she worked with them for those two albums, and I think those are the most digestible Taylor Swift albums for me. And they're ones that if you go on my Spotify, I actually have songs from those ones. Much to the horror of my daughters, like, Dad, you cannot have a Taylor Swift song in your like songs. I'm like, yeah, good song. What can I say? But yeah, she's definitely Swifty and lets me know that I shouldn't be either. Yeah, that the Folklore won the 2021 Grammy, and then we get to the album we're talking about today, the album that was released on October 21st, 2022, and that is Midnights. So, a little bit about this album. It was released in 2022, and it was a concept album. She said that it's essentially, I think, 13 tracks, although there's so many versions of this album. I don't know how many tracks altogether, but I checked, there's 5 different versions of the album. There's expanded ones and remixed ones. So 5 different versions of Midnights. I think hopefully all of us just played the standard one. And
I got the mahogany issued or whatever.
I got the one that Target had. So I got the Target exclusive, which I don't think it has bonus tracks, but I really don't know. It had 13 songs. I played them. So yeah, she said it's looking at her personal struggles and insecurities. Every track should take place at midnight. That's kind of where she's going. It's a more synth pop album because she's definitely a musical chameleon. She goes from country to pop to folk and now to synth pop. So that's kind of where this one is. And it was the best-selling album of 2022. It sold, I believe, it sold 5 million copies worldwide, which again is incredible in this era when people don't sell millions of albums. But what I found interesting was that this one sold 945,000 copies on vinyl. So she's even getting huge sales on vinyl, where bands would love to sell 945,000 copies of their album in any form, and she sold it just in vinyl. But I think it helped when she had an Amazon and a Target, and all these places had exclusives, and her diehards are going to want all of those. They're going to be completists. So, I mean, what can I say? Yeah. You have your album out in 5 different versions, and your diehards will buy all 5. What do you know?
Hey, that's marketing 101. Milk your customers with as much money as you can.
And she has succeeded in that. And I want the keys to the kingdom on that one. Like, all right, I want to sell multiple versions of the same thing for myself. So okay, it also won 3 Grammy Awards. So it won Album of the Year and Artist of the Year. So she won 3 more Grammy Awards for this album that we're going to be looking at today. And yeah, what can I say? I mean, it was 85% on Metacritic. So it got very strong reviews on Metacritic. And we'll pull that up. We always do take a look at Metacritic and see, what do other people think? What are the non, because you look in here, we are not her target audience, obviously. Right. We're not the ones that Taylor Swift is trying to sell albums to. And let's see. Has he ever been captured facing forward? I don't know.
Last night on Carissa's stream, I'm on for less than 5 minutes, and it's straight on. Okay. I was lying on my back, and I had my phone above my face. I just wanted to say on the stream, but this is what I look like straight on.
So there you go. John, it's happened.
There you go.
Yes, magic happening on our show.
I think I want to start a trend where it's always filming just the back of my head. I want to see how well that does. I'll just act nonchalant and say, and hi, and I'll wave at the wall away from the camera.
There you go. All right, so Metacritic. Let's take a look at how her Metacritic scores were for this album. It actually scored really high. It got 85 out of 100. And the majority of the reviews were very positive. So what you see, if you look at the Metacritic, of the critics that reviewed it, 26 had positive reviews, 80s, 90s. There were 2 that really didn't like it, and that's it. 2 critics who didn't like it, and we'll see if we agree with them or not. Are we going to add like 3 and 4? Although, if you look at the user reviews, there's 233 people, but some of them might just be like, I'm sick of Taylor. I don't want to see her on the next football game. I'm giving this a negative review and not actually play the album. So we played the album for you. We're not just random haters. We played it, and we're here to give you at least our opinion. There might be the wrong opinion, and as I always say, if I'm wrong, please feel free to tell me in the comments. I won't be hurt. You're not going to break my heart if you find out I'm not a proper Swiftie. So the reviews are positive. So now let's talk about what is our history of Taylor Swift. Not necessarily this album, but Dash, what is your history of Taylor Swift?
Well, I mean, like you said, you nailed it from the beginning. She was started off with country, and she had some good songs before with Teardrops on My Guitar, and I think Tim McGraw was one of hers, and so I know a little bit of that. And then after that, I just that most of the time I spent overseas, so I wasn't catching a whole lot of what she was doing at that point until I got back. So, and then my friend, Amber, the one that requested that we listen to this. If you're watching, Amber, say hello. She and I have banter back and forth about Swifties and non-Swifties and things of that nature. So, I mean, she is very much a fan of Taylor Swift.
Okay.
I, on the other hand, am not like the greatest fan of Taylor Swift. I don't dislike her in any way, but definitely not going to be the first reach on a disc or a LP or on a radio station for me.
Okay. What about you, DM? What are your overall history? What's your overall history with Taylor Swift?
My Swiftery, we'll call it that.
There you go.
The first impressions I got from her was actually through an ex-girlfriend who took a liking to her during her country era. So I was very familiar with Teardrops on My Guitar, Love Story. Relative to us, she'll always be viewed as a kid, but at the time she was very more so a kid. Like that was 2008. So whatever her age is now, she just in her adolescence, right? She was that was her big boom, her big break. I personally, as I've listened to her music on the radio throughout the years, I feel her best stuff, regardless of the quality of her current stuff. I'm not saying whether it's bad or good, but her best stuff definitely was her country stuff, in my opinion.
Okay.
All of the music from that era, I could probably sing it right from start to end. I'm really I have a strong memory towards lyrics, so it's not like I really, really like her stuff, but it's catchy enough that it's easy to absorb and it's easy to enjoy, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah. I mean, and that makes sense. It's very, I mean, it's kind of, it becomes background music because you hear it so much, but it's not the kind of background music where you're just like, oh gosh, get me out of this room. I can't stand to hear another word of it. Yeah, I mean, for me, my history of her kind of starts with Kanye West. And the moment
I'm gonna let you finish.
What's that?
I'm gonna let you finish, but Beyonce had the best record of all time.
The moment that Jackass got on the stage, and if you're a Kanye fan, fuck off. I don't care. I'm not even gonna pretend like tell me in the comments like, no, he's a dick. So all right. My opinion has been known. Please do not request a Kanye album for us to do, because I think I'll lose my shit. But maybe that's what you want. If you're looking for me to lose my shit, then
the graduation.
There's what you want. So yes, that's my first moment of Taylor Swift. Just seeing her get her moment stolen by Kanye West, because like you said, had the best video, and he just couldn't let it go. And that's the moment I knew who Taylor Swift was, more than just, oh, that's her song. You could have, like, You Belong With Me, I could have heard that song, I wouldn't have known who sang it. Thanks to Kanye West, we all know. So yeah, there was that. And then of course, can't get away from her right now, because you can't get away from the stupid Chiefs. I hope they lose next week. come at me. So yes, I thought I was going to be the nice one today, but I've decided against that, and I'm gonna maintain my asshole exterior and just like
it's okay to hate the Chiefs. It's okay to hate the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm sick of them.
There's something we have to add to Taylor and the Chiefs. She was seen with Ryan Reynolds and a couple other people. There's a lot of speculation that she was Lady Deadpool going into Deadpool Wolverine, and she's big friends with Blake Lively. Yeah, so everybody had this huge conspiracy that she was going to be in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. So in my networks of entertainment, that was discussed quite a lot in my circles.
Okay. And what did they find out that she wasn't though? It was his wife.
I think she even debunked it. I think she did, and I think they let it play out for a while, if I'm not mistaken, that it was that she was possibly in there. But
because they could sell some more tickets. Don't say until like the first weekend's over and get that box office. I mean, and really, there were a million Deadpools in that movie. They could have made one like a Taylor Swift Deadpool, and why not? It could have been fun and entertaining if she just decided to throw a cameo in there. Yeah. So and then the other thing I think of is her Giant Eras tour. I mean, there were people that were getting kicked out of the movie theater because they were screaming at the screen that wasn't even her. It wasn't a live stream. They were watching a pre-recorded video of her screaming and getting kicked out. And I found it amusing. I'm like, teenagers are crazy. We know this. And, have your fun because you're not really hurting anyone. You're screaming at a movie screen. It's obnoxious. But in the end, did anyone get hurt? Nah, scream at the screen. Do your thing. But that's the tour I wish I would have just bought infinite amounts of tickets for. I should have just sat here on my Ticketmaster buying as many Eras tickets, and right now I would be retired. This would be streaming from my yacht if I had decided to buy all the Taylor Swift Eras tickets. Alas, I didn't. I'm in my office, but next time I'll make myself rich. All right, so that's my history with her. So now we're going to start digging into the album itself, talking about Midnights, one of the infinite versions. This was the version I bought, so this was the cover I had. And like I said, it was the one that I found at Target that's kind of see-through, I guess. But if you look carefully on our intro video, you can see my my Halloween slip mat that's hiding underneath the Taylor Swift album. So, all right. So now, overall thoughts on this album. So I'm gonna let you go first, Dash, because I know you got thoughts, and you can take over as the mean one now. I'll be the nice one.
I'm just chomping at the bit to get overall. Like we talked about it, and for me, I have no problem with "Shake It Off." I think "Shake It Off" is a fantastic song. It's great in the movies. It's great. One of my favorite TV shows had it in Supernatural. They used it in Supernatural. I just loved it. But this is not "Shake It Off" at all. Anything like it. Again, if you guys have been following any of our shows, I got to be caught right away and from the get-go. And this album, I didn't feel it. It was very depressing to me. It was, and I guess that's what she was going for. And if that's what you're going for, you nailed it. But depressing, I didn't feel any of the songs. I didn't. They were good songs, but it's nothing that I would, if I was a movie director or something like that, I would be throwing onto my movies, unless it was a very dark and depressing movie and things of that nature. And other than that, that was it. It was, at times it felt like background, like it was like Gordon Lightfoot. We had a couple songs where we were just like, we could have just let it sit in the background and we didn't miss anything. Yeah. And that's how I felt with this album. I listened to everything, but if this was on, it wouldn't make any difference to me.
It'd just be white noise to you.
Yeah, it would just be white noise. It's and I understand why people like this, but I don't know if I would let my my daughters listen to this music. I don't know if I would. I mean, that's just being honest.
Yeah. But yours are younger.
Because
your daughters are younger.
Yeah,
Mine are 14 and 18, so they're gonna do their thing.
Yeah. Now, if they were older and they wanted to listen to it, that's fine. But I mean, I wouldn't ban them from it. But I don't know if I would intentionally put this on for them. It's just depressing. And all the songs, if they happened at midnight, I again, you know, a lot of the things that I read on it, it was you talked about two of the critics saying it was there were two negative reviews from critics. It felt like they said it was a step back in the wrong direction for her.
Yeah, the few that did come out against it. So yeah, it was. Yeah. And Anthony says that they were bought by the government. So yeah, that he doesn't believe any of the reviews to be real. The Taylor Swift conspiracies.
Listen, but I can't attest to that, obviously, because I mean, other than her country, it's definitely a step back from her country because I liked a lot of her country, but I can't say it's a step back. But to me, it's a step back from Shake It Off, if that makes sense.
And that,
because
I mean, that is such a poppy and catchy song. It is, John was saying it's his favorite, and I would say it's just you can't help but get swept up in that song. It is a perfect pop song. So I agree with John. That's probably my favorite. It's the one I have that, and oh gosh, Bad Blood. Yeah. Or blank space. That one. No. Those are my two that in there besides her collaboration with Bon Iver. So yeah, those are the ones that I would go back to and listen to. But yeah, I agree. This album doesn't have a shake it off moment. It doesn't have that pop powerhouse moment. And when I get to my thoughts, I kind of discuss that as well.
I felt like it was, and I'm gonna get in trouble for this and probably get canceled and so it felt like she was more self-important than she really is. Does that make sense? Like anti-hero.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And the head should be on a string because it's gotten so big, it's floating around now.
It felt like she thinks more highly of herself than maybe she should.
You get that much acclaim when everyone's telling you you're the greatest, you start to believe it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the vibe I got from it. But
I mean, I don't know. Yeah. We'll see if people agree with you. Where's your girl? I mean, she should be chiming in and telling you.
She should be chiming in.
Yeah, it's like, come on now. It's your turn. You may attack Dash because normally it's me. I'm like, all right, Ripley, attack me. I'm not being nice, but no, it's Dash's turn. Unless you're a Kanye fan, then they're coming after me. But that's all right. I'm ready. So Ray, what were your thoughts about the album? Just your overall thoughts.
Overall thoughts. Well, just to kind of add to what you guys were saying, this sounds left field, but it'll come full circle with my punchline. Have you ever seen the movie The Other Guys with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg? And just before Samuel Jackson, The Rock, killed themselves, they're just like, aim for the bushes. They think it's going to work out. Yeah, Taylor Swift is kind of getting to that aim for the bushes kind of. It'll just work out. My album will be great kind of thing. My other con, I'll go through the cons first. My other con with it is, this is a personal thing. Listening to Taylor Swift swear, it doesn't sound natural.
That's it.
It doesn't. It sounds like it's put on.
Yeah.
And you know what? I do have one more con. Some of her songs, lyrically, the vocabulary is not consistent. And I'm not judging her vocabulary, but sometimes she'll throw in like a certain word that just, you can tell it's not a word she usually uses. And it just doesn't come across as natural or genuine.
Okay.
With that said, overall with her, if all of these were written at midnight, apparently when you're really tired, it simulates being under the effects of alcohol or being drunk. And something we can talk about later when we go into the different segments. But some things I found were kind of interesting in what her thoughts were in regards to lyrics in specific, as opposed to an overall feel of a specific song. But I'll save that for later.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, my thoughts were that the album overall felt very cold and artificial. And that's just musically because she went for that electro pop feel, but it feels that way. And I'm sure she would say that that's by design because you want to feel that vibe of midnight. But I don't know. She's midnight in the clubs. My midnight would be more of like, all right, throw me into an Edgar Allan Poe style midnight, and I'm going to enjoy that a lot more. And I felt like the songs missed the big payoff that they could have had. Kind of when we're talking about Shake It Off, that chorus is just undeniable. And it's just so strong. And the song builds to that chorus. And these ones I'm waiting. I'm like, all right, it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. And then it just fizzles out. And you don't get that satisfying, just big punch, that big chorus that you'll get stuck in your head for the next week. And I like that she can paint the picture lyrically in these songs, and definitely if you wrong her and you're one of her exes, she's gonna fuck you up, and you better get ready for it. So it's just, when we've been talking about it, and I wrote this, that it lacks the fun that we saw in some of her earlier pop works. So it's too one note. I just don't prefer the electronic sound. If she wants to make dark midnight, electronic, get Trent Reznor to produce it. And that's the album that I want to hear. I want to hear the album that she produces, the Midnight Industrial Trent Reznor album, because he did an album with Halsey. And if you've ever heard that one, it's a great album, and he still works with her pop aesthetics, but he finds that darkness that Taylor Swift tried to find a little bit, but it's too much like Midnight at the Club, and that's not my midnight. Like I said, I want the walking through a forest. I want the Cure's midnight, running through a forest all alone, and the fear that you're going to get killed. That's the midnight I'm looking for, not the I'm dancing in the club and I got a little too drunk midnight, which is the kind of the midnight we got in this one. But that's just more overall, like Ray was saying, I'm going to save some of my thoughts till we get to actual songs that we want to talk about. So now, we can talk about what was your favorite song on this album. And I know, Dash, you're going to be grasping, like the one where it ended. That's my favorite. So Dash, what do you got? You have any favorite? Did any one of these get you bopping? Because it's all it takes. I know you're easily pleased.
They're all fine songs, but nothing. I would come out and say, again, I'm taking it back to Shake It Off, where I want the poppy. I want the dancing around and feeling the music, and I didn't get that from any of this. And to go back on what DM said, the cussing just took me out of it a little bit, because again, not that there's anything wrong with cussing. This is just not Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Taylor Swift using vulgar language is the equivalent to watching a vegetarian eat a hamburger.
Thank you very much. Yes. And so, I mean, immediately in Lavender Haze, we already get cussing and then
she's trying. It's like, you're not Trent Reznor. You're not moving me. Now, Trent Reznor, when he says fuck, you feel it. I'm like, damn, he has the best delivery of fuck of any artist. Like, he can say it in different ways, and I feel it on different levels. And I was even telling my wife, we were listening to a Nine Inch Nails album. I'm like, no man says fuck like Trent Reznor. So Taylor Swift does not say fuck like Trent Reznor. It's feeble, and I don't feel the bones. I don't want to, like, Trent Reznor is like a freaking punch to the guts when he says it, and that's what I want to hear. And yes, Nine Inch Nails are supposed to be coming with a new album. I'm ready.
I don't get any favorite song. Like there's nothing that I'm going to rush out and go.
Nothing's going in your Spotify playlist.
Nothing from this album would go on my Spotify playlist. I can honestly say that. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who think I am bashing her, I do have Shake It Off, and I do have some of her country in my Spotify playlist.
Yeah.
So I do have Taylor.
I have about 5 of her songs in my playlist. So I'm not one to rip her. And if we had none, and it was just like, oh no, we can't stand her. And there's artists like I never ended up with a Gordon Lightfoot song in my favorites playlist. So that's saying something. Like, okay, coming into this, none of those songs made it to the list where she already has some in there. This album, I didn't add any to it, but I think I had it better than Dash. But I always go last. So Ray, where did you stand? What was your favorite song on this one?
Best songs? Ones that I would, if I had to order them from best to worst. Top two, I didn't mind Sweet Nothing. But again, as already stated, background noise. It's something I would read a book to, or if I was a student doing homework, put that on the background. I enjoy it for what it is. I can't even name, what was he saying there?
I can't even name or would not recognize a Swift song. Well, I mean, you probably think that, but I guarantee there's some that you had to have heard because they've just become so gigantic. They play out in, you know, commercials and things like that. So
she
you can
wears
say you don't know
heels, I wear sneakers.
Yeah, I mean,
there's some good ones on there. There's catchy ones.
It's inevitable that you know one. You may think you don't, but
yeah,
I think even my dad would probably know a Swift song or two, even though he would try to claim otherwise. But yeah, I mean, they're undeniable that she's such a juggernaut of pop culture. You're going to have heard something of hers.
Now, for myself, in regards to how I appreciate songs, I either like orchestrated, no lyrics. As soon as lyrics are involved, the melody and the background noise, all the beat and everything else, it takes a far second place to me. And I don't know why that is. I think I just enjoy story. So I like hearing what has to be said in a song. On that note, another one that I appreciated, and we can talk later for best lyrics, is Anti-Hero. But we'll save that for later on.
Yeah. All right. So for me, I picked a couple. The one that I liked the most was the Vigilante shit. Mostly because it gets the closest to being like the dark kind of almost industrial. It's just kind of like wimpy industrial. Like it's not strong, but it's the closest. And I was like, again, I'm waiting for the payoff. I'm like, all right, you got this. You can take this to that level. And it was like, fizzled out. So again, Taylor Swift, I know I'm a nobody to you, but get with Trent Reznor and make some real shit. That's what we want. And then he'll say all the fucks so you won't have to. And, you know,
he won't share. His pockets will be full because all the F's will not be given.
Yes, there you go. And Bejeweled, I thought, had the catchiest chorus of the batch. And it wasn't even that it was a really catchy chorus, but of all the choruses, it was the one that I thought worked the best. I'm not going to say it was a great chorus because she's had great choruses. This one kind of was more in the middle, but of the choruses, that was the most catchy. And it was kind of, again, you know, it's like her man, she's stepping out on her man for a night out on the town because he's neglecting her, and he leading back to don't fuck with Taylor unless you want to be written about, because I guess this was a real event and she went to the Met Gala and you can see the dress that she's talking about. So like, yeah, you just want to be like almost like that kid from the Twilight Zone. Like, she's gonna send you to the cornfield, so you better watch it and don't ever talk trash because Taylor will put you in a song in the cornfield and you're fucked. So yeah. That's my thought on that one. So those were the two that I kind of picked out. I mean, the Lana Del Rey one I thought was okay, but again, it just didn't get anywhere. But I got my own.
I'm surprised
Lana Del Rey.
I'm even surprised she did a song with Lana Del Rey.
Yeah, I mean, that's her trying to show her indie cred because she worked with Bon Iver and she worked with the National. Yeah. I think she's trying to work in that wheelhouse. But Lana Del Rey is more of an obnoxious diva than Taylor Swift even. So it's like, yeah. So let's see.
It's no longer country artist, modern music is more grown up. Yeah, that's true. I agree. She can do what her want. Just my opinion. I like the country the best. But yeah, she has definitely grown up, and I definitely applaud her taking risks. This album is an example.
Yeah, and it is a risky album. I think where it comes from is that it doesn't work because I don't generally like the electronica sound that she's going for. Because, you know, her stuff that I do enjoy has a lot more interesting instrumentation going on. So yeah, I can see that, and she can absolutely do, what she wants, and she's going to make, I'm sure,
No one's
a lot of
disputing
different
that.
kinds of albums. When the Taylor Swift metal album comes out, we won't be shocked, because it's like she's going to try a little bit of everything, and this is her dance electronica one, and more power to her, because in the end, a lot of people my age especially love to hate on her. And it's like, you know what? At least she's writing her own shit. She's not written by this, this pop, those those machines that just crank out pop songs, and they, they don't have to make any damn sense. Just kind of like those NSYNC and Backstreet Boys songs. Like, all right, they just got to sound catchy. So yeah, it's something. So yes, and there's a clean version for kids and adults who can't handle the swearing. So obviously, you've heard me. I can handle the swearing. She just needs to get more powerful with it. I want her to
when
tell
she
me
says
that
it,
shit,
you
and
have
I'll
to
feel
believe
it.
it. Doesn't sound like she believes it when she says it.
Yeah, that's it. I want her to Trent Reznor those words, and then I'll
from
be
the
like,
stomach
I
and not
feel
from the
that.
pulled punch.
Yeah,
we're getting the defenders come in, so I get
read
it.
any of my content and know that I'm not opposed to profanity. So she can cuss, she can make a fucking gangster rap album. I don't care. I'm down for it. Just feel those lyrics.
That man, you got me going here. Like, I remember a long time ago, they did a comedy skit with her and T-Pain, and at one point she gets censored and she stops singing, and she says, "What are you doing? I didn't even swear." And then T-Pain, who's still trying to back her up singing, she didn't even swear. really funny.
Funny.
I do remember that.
Yeah. So no, I'm definitely not opposed to the profanity, but it's just like Ray was saying, we want her to feel that profanity. If you're going to say it, then like feel it to your core. Like we want to feel that punch of the words from her. You want the lyrics to have bite. If you're going to sing lyrics that have bite, let us hear that same bite in the lyrics. So yeah,
that's
I mean,
all we're saying.
And Jess, thank you for chiming in. I appreciate your opinion, and we may absolutely be wrong, because in this show it's all opinion, and I've been told I'm wrong more than once, and I appreciate you chiming in and telling us we're wrong, because that is a beautiful thing. I'm glad that you love her, and yeah, they do have the censored versions. I guess that's version number 6 of this album that exists, or maybe it's one of the 5 that we already saw. So again, thank you, Jess. We appreciate you watching and telling us we're wrong. It's a beautiful thing, because I'm always wrong. It's cool. I'm good with that. Even when I'm right, I'm probably wrong. So let's go into our best lyrics. And I wrote down a few. I have a few lyrics that I found good on this one, because she is a strong lyricist. That's one of the things that she's known about. So Dash, I know that you had more difficulty with this album, but did you find any lyrics that kind of grabbed you?
I mean, well, I don't want to upset Jess anymore, so I'll try to be, I'll try to be good, Jess. I promise. We talked about Anti-Hero, Anti-Hero and Vigilante. These lyrics stood out to me because, again, it feels like she's trying to be something that she's not. I get that she's probably a great person and things like that, but I don't get the vibe that she's this anti-hero. That's not her, but this is, and it's hi, I'm the problem. It's me. At tea time, everybody agrees. I stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror. I understand the lyrics, but again, it feels forced, because we're talking about Taylor Swift here, the good girl. I know she's written songs about breakups and things like that, but for the most part, I don't feel any. And again, I take it back. And Jess, if you're still watching, I love Taylor Swift's song. I love Shake It Off and things like that. This album just didn't do anything for me. And this Anti-Hero just came off as a forced song. Like I'm trying to be. I want people to see me as this anti-hero. You're not Stone Cold Steve Austin, all right? You're just not. You're Taylor.
Maybe
you're
she
not.
needs Breaking Glass in the start of
now if there would have, if Anti-Hero would have started out with Breaking Glass, then I would have been definitely into it. And then again,
then there's your hook. So yeah, Breaking
Yeah.
Glass, or as you know, for me, any song that starts with thunder, and I'm already hooked. So
Yeah, and
it
then
needs
Snow
to
on
start a song with thunder. Like, all right, Midnight Rain should have had thunder, and it would have been my top pick of the album.
Sold.
But that's just me. I'm an easy sucker for thunder in songs, and I don't know why. I always have been. So you start that song with some rolling thunder, you've got me in 100%. So
yeah,
yes,
and
no
then,
thunder in this album, but you know,
definitely
Breaking
not.
Glass would have been just as strong.
And Snow on the Beach with, like I said, with Lana Del Rey, it's probably if I had to go back to best song, this might be the one that I kind of like. But again, the cussing in there, it's, and I get it. There's a clean version, but the cussing, it felt forced, and it doesn't fit the song. I would have definitely, probably tuned into it more if there hadn't been that words, because that's not what I'm used to with her. Again, let's go. She did a trio with Tim McGraw and Keith Urban one time, and that was such a great song. And that's what I think of Taylor. The sweet, innocent, and you feel that song, even though it's Tim McGraw's song. When she comes in, you feel her part. Even it's harmonizing and things like that, but you feel it. And with this, I don't feel, because again, you're just taking cuss words and trying to make it your persona, and it's not. And I get it. It's a concept album, and she was trying it, and I don't know if she's gone back to cuss words, or she's stuck with cuss words, or got rid of it. But I think it would have been a better song. But it starts off or we get into that, and it's like Snow at the Beach, weird but effing beautiful. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I like the lyrics. If you take, if I took the words out, and I kind of like the lyrics on that one. It is Flying in a Dream, Stars by Pocketful. You would have had me. And maybe if I go back and listen to the
takes the lyrics out at the knees. And
yeah,
that one part was going on the beach.
And yeah, and I feel like that would, if that F word wasn't in there, and so, and I thought, man, that's really good lyrics, but the cussing just takes away from it. So, like I said, if the cuss words weren't in there, I probably would say "Snow on the Beach" would probably be my favorite song. But I have to, I have to be honest to myself.
I liked it. Honestly, the profanity didn't bother me. It's just like Ray was saying, it didn't have power to it. It felt like I'm gonna be edgy for the sake of being edgy, because she's done, she's got that, I wouldn't even say the squeaky clean image, but she doesn't need to go like full Miley Cyrus and go, like, all right, I'm not hopefully not a role model.
She hasn't done that yet.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, you don't need to take it to that level of like, yes, I am not a good girl, and here's all the reasons why. And again, she's a grown woman, and she is entitled to do whatever the hell she wants. And that's great. We're not here to say she shouldn't do it, but it's a certain thing when you just want to not only change your image, but obliterate it. And that's, the Miley Cyrus thing, where Taylor Swift slipping a few F-bombs in isn't destroying her image. It's, she hangs out with NFL players. She's heard that all. We know that.
Yeah. It's not the cussing. It's really not the cussing, because I have tons of albums with cussing on it. It's because I don't associate. Does that make sense? I don't associate those words.
It's not something you imagine with her. Yeah, and I understand.
I just like how we're all grown men saying, "I don't like the song because it has swearing in it."
I know, and that literally I probably lose my man card for that. But no, I get you, DM. I'm right there.
I mean, and like I said, you look at this.
I'm agreeing with what you guys are saying. It's just ironic if you said this out of context to somebody. They didn't like the song because they were swearing in it.
Yeah. And again, look at this room. Look at who's in here. We are not her target demographic.
Yeah.
She doesn't need it. And, we contributed to her 945,000 copies of vinyl sold. So, yes, I own that Taylor Swift album. And she got my $30, and she can be happy. Just kind of like Jethro Tull's Christmas album. She got my $30. And if he doesn't like the shit I said about it, laugh all the way to the bank, my man. It's cool. And Taylor Swift can do the same, because she can laugh, a billion times to the bank. So, all right, we have gone off topic again. So, Ray,
we do that.
What were your favorite lyrics in this one?
So, I'm going to replace the word favorite with interesting.
Okay.
The reason I do that is much like Dash has pointed out with Anti-Hero. For me, I feel it's got some flaws. For example, at some points, there's all this forced, excessive rhyming. If you take those parts out, there's some parts I find very interesting, especially knowing that she writes this at midnight. This is a woman at that point. She's well into her 30s. And for somebody to sit down and have this epiphany, regardless of whether this is a joke or these are honest lyrics, but saying that my relationship didn't work with this person, my relationship didn't work with this person. Well, there's only, after all these people, there's only one common denominator. It's very interesting. I'm sure everybody's had these thoughts, not just Taylor. I'm not bashing Taylor for this, but it's very interesting to see exactly how she spills it out. Something like, she doesn't say cut your nose off to spite your face, but she says I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in a mirror. Like I'm reckless in relationships. She's almost like, it's almost like she's describing herself as very selfish. Mm-hmm. And then later on, she, in my impression, when I listen to this, it sounds like she intentionally projects her pain on others. She compares herself to a monster on a hill, too big to hang out, slowly lurching towards your favorite city. And then the thing she says at the end there, pierced through the heart, but never killed. Like she can't get past something, whatever that something is. Instead of fixing it, she gets some Band-Aid dopamine by making somebody else miserable.
Yeah.
And the last piece of lyrics I'll reflect on with it is the one where she talks about the dream. I'll just read it here quick. Mm-hmm. I have this dream. My daughter-in-law kills me for the money. She thinks I left them in the will. The family gathers round, reads it, and then someone screams out, she's laughing up at us from hell. I think the most disturbing part of all of that is she calls it a dream and not a nightmare, as if she enjoys hurting people, even in her death. So kill me for the money. You didn't even get that. Like I thought that was very interesting. A lot of psychologists talk about how narcissists, if there's a good time and it's not about the narcissist would prefer you to remember the chaos that they're going to overshadow the good time from them. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to get excessively deep, but for me, out of lyrics, I thought that was very interesting for her to openly say, I'm causing a lot of problems here. It's almost like the first step is acknowledging you have a problem in many cases. And it sounds like when these lyrics are being written, she's somewhere at that stage, which, like I said, go ahead.
The question I have is, does she believe it?
And that's a good point. Either she had a very, a good lyricist play this out. I don't know, but for making a point about, I got to fix myself. It looks like that for her to deliver such a message. Mm-hmm. I appreciate the majority of the song, except for the parts where she's excessively throwing out like words that seem not within her but not in her common vocabulary, and the excessive rhyming. Aside from those parts, regardless of whether this is fake and put on or not, I do appreciate those lyrics for, I guess, well, even at the very start, she talks about, I have this thing where I get older and never wiser. And it talks about her, it's almost like I'm growing up, but I still feel like a kid, or I'm still a kid, even though I'm growing up. And many people leaving high school, they think they're adults and they're 20, 21, 22, 23. They're up at 4 a.m. hanging out with friends. Mm-hmm. They're not really that wise, right? And then here's Taylor into her 30s making these statements, assuming they're genuine. Well, it just provokes a lot of thought, I guess, is the best way to summarize it all.
Yeah, agreed. And that's, is she self-reflecting on herself, or is it, like you said, the lyrics coming from somewhere else? But it's that song I had some stuff from as well, so I agree. And then I had for one of my lyrics where everything you lose is a step you take when from you're on your own, kid. And that one, just kind of where she's looking at, like you think that the love is going to save you, but you're on your own. So the message is kind of interesting in that one. It's not, I think it's reflective of her personality, because she even talked about one of the songs was about her love that she had, and that love ended up not being able to be with her because she wanted to move forward in her stardom, and he just wanted a simple life. And looking at that, so she's looking at, she lost the love that she could have had, but it's a step that she took forward. And then where this one was from, I forget what song, I didn't write it down, but it was, does he suffer as much as she does? Do you wish you could still touch her? And that's, I think that might have been from the Midnight. Forgetting, if you know the song name, let me know, because I didn't write it down.
Midnight Rain, I think.
Okay, and then I never think of him except on midnights like this. So that, sticking with the midnight theme, I like the idea of the midnight theme, and I enjoy concept albums if the concept works and locks in. And I've heard as many good concept albums as I've heard bad concept albums. They work both ways, and if you can get the concept to work, it's it's going to be huge. And obviously this did resonate with a lot of people because it sold huge amounts. I mean, 5 million copies in a people don't buy physical media. And the fact that she sold 5 million copies of physical media is saying that people did connect with this Taylor thing. So, all right, Taylor Swift makes us feel things. Yeah, I guess in the end, we're getting a lot of discussion out of this. And we got one person coming to her defense, and that's great, because we always say, like, we're just 3 people, and we're going to have our opinions, and we are not her target market. We're not who she's looking to sell copies to. But it's an interesting thing, because is she self-reflecting, or is this kind of just playing for that midnight theme? So yeah, those were the lyrics that I had written down. But yeah, like Ray was saying, there were just some interesting ones, and the concept, I don't know if it worked for me, but like I said, my version of Midnight is a different version than her version of Midnight. And anyone at that age, I mean, the age difference tells you what you're generally going to be doing at midnight, and that's probably sleeping in my bed. So it's like, the party night is over.
I'm 51. Bedtime is 9:30. Trust me.
I still get out more than I should at my age, and my coworkers keep telling me, like, you're gonna run out of energy one day, and you're just gonna go to bed like us normal folk. But I still try to hit a lot of concerts, so some of my midnights are there, just not at the dance club like her midnight would be. It would be at the loud metal band club or the screaming emo club. But to each their own.
Sarah says Taylor Swift makes us feel things.
Yeah.
I'm not discrediting that she makes people feel things, but when you say us, who is us? Because
I think human beings. Yeah,
assemble the army.
Yes, the Swiftie army. They're coming for you.
Stand upon thee.
They are coming for. I will probably have Swifties outside my door tonight, ready to chop me down, because I didn't.
We've all pointed out that there's songs of Taylor's that we all like.
So we're coming to, yes, she does make me feel things. And her 2 folk albums that she did in 2020, I genuinely like those 2 albums. Like I would buy those ones, not just because I have to for the show. I would actually legitimately own those, because I think there are some amazing songs. Although we get the vinyl conundrum of it's hard as hell to skip tracks, and there's still skippers on there where you just play the whole thing. So hey, Aaron, come on and tell us your opinions of Taylor Swift, Aaron. What are your thoughts? Because we already tried to remove one of her songs when we did our removing songs from being played, and John saved it. So John came back and saved Taylor Swift. So yeah, we've talked Taylor Swift before, but yeah, now we're going to talk about the one that's probably easier for you, Dash, because it would be the whole album. What are you going to skip on this album? What's a song in particular that you would skip?
Definitely, I would definitely skip. For me, I don't like the Vigilante shit. I'd probably skip it, and I would probably skip Labyrinth and Karma. Now, I say this with all due respect to Taylor Swift. If I probably go back and get the album that doesn't have any of the cuss words in it, I might have a different opinion of it. I didn't know there was explicit, again, I didn't know when I ordered
nice
this
version.
I didn't know there was a nice version. And again, it's not because I dislike cuss words. It's not because I don't think cussing belongs in music, because that's expression. And I'll reiterate this till the day I die with Swifties. It's just that, to me, the profanity and those lyrics don't fit my image, Dash's image, not Swifty's images or Ray's images or Ed's images. Dash's image of what Taylor Swift should be is not cussing in a song. So I would probably say I wouldn't skip the whole album. But if I go back and listen to it, these songs might take a different tone without the explicit lyrics in it.
Yeah.
To add to your point there, Dash, I think a good litmus test to add to your point, if Taylor Swift were to hear us talking right now, most likely she is not, but if she were to pick a metal or a thrash metal song, her choice, and go off lyric for lyric, it wouldn't come out as natural. And for her to have her song where everything is, I mean, there's some new experimental parts with it, but it is the essence of Taylor Swift all throughout the album.
Yeah.
Just adding what you're saying, putting in the swearing, it for yourself and me as well, it just kind of takes the song out at the knees. I don't know how else to put that.
Yeah. And I guess for me, it wasn't as off-putting. I just kind of almost giggled, like, okay, tough now.
Isn't that cute?
I don't think that was her aim, like to make me giggle, and not like, I mean, I like I said, I love Nine Inch Nails, and you get the whole spectrum of that, and it doesn't bother me. And her profanity doesn't bother me either. And I tried to be very open with this. I just had a hard time connecting, and I connect easily if I love something, and I connect easily and I can talk a lot about it if I hate something. This album doesn't fall in either of those categories. I don't love it. I don't hate it. So some of my notes were just like, okay, it's poppy. And like, all right, that's not what I'm going for. So it actually took 2 listens before I could get enough notes to sound intelligent on this, and not just like, okay, there's like 4 poppy songs and one that tries to be a Nine Inch Nails song. And yeah, it's interesting. But for me, my main, or wait, Ray, did you say what song you were going to skip? I think I stole your spot.
That's okay. The one I would skip is, now the album version that I had was the last one was Mastermind.
Yeah.
That one, I don't know if the other one she was trying too hard, but Mastermind definitely came across as forced. Like, I am this diabolical, essentially a super villain. Yeah. I have all these 4D chess moves on you kind of thing. I'm not buying it.
Yeah. So you don't believe in the she's plotting out the whole night before it happens. So yeah, that one, honestly, that was one of the ones that just kind of glossed over me. But I think by the end of the album, I was there. But the one that genuinely annoyed me that I would have to skip would be Midnight Rain. And it's, I found some of the lyrics even fine in that one. But the weird auto tune that she does in the beginning, that sounds kind of like evil Annie Lennox. It's just,
there's a couple like that.
Anytime she hit that weird auto tune thing, I'm like, oh no, not evil Annie Lennox again. I can't do this. And,
I imagine a giant fishbowl on her head when she was talking. Suddenly she's talking like this.
So any of the songs with the weird auto tune, fishbowl Annie Lennox, I'm out. So
Megamind. I got Megamind.
So we all have our we all visualize a different thing when she does that auto tune, but none of them are just this badass woman, kicking ass and taking names. Like, no, It didn't work. Just turn the auto tune off. Sing your regular voice. You got a great voice. Just use that and save the auto tune for, I don't know, T-Pain. So he can do that.
Yeah,
he's the one.
Taylor, save it for when you go on Masked Singer.
Yeah, there you go. Then you
because
need to
they always guess that she's one of the contestants. So one of these days she probably is going to show up.
Yeah. And auto tune like, oh wait, that's the evil fishbowl auto tune. We know it now.
Yeah.
That'd be a dead game.
Right. So no. I think Dash is an easy one for you. You're gonna keep this one or return it to the use bin.
I'm gonna caveat this version.
Mm-hmm.
I will send back, but I will probably pick up the clean version as Jess pointed out to us. I will probably pick up the clean version to get a better assessment, because that's the Taylor Swift I'm used to. Had Taylor always done this, I think this album might have swung a little different for me. But this version, this explicit version, for me, Dash's opinion only, we'll go back, but I will probably pick up the clean version, and I still give the album a 3 because that's a good, it means I on a scale of 5, I give it a 3.
3 out of 5 stars. So
it's still pretty good. I mean, because there are people that will appreciate these songs, and I understand that.
Yeah,
I know there's people, just as Sarah said, Taylor makes you feel things, and I get that. I totally get that. So there's nothing I would say that the negative to me is just a negative to me, probably not a negative to everybody else. So if I pick up the clean version, I could very well probably see myself enjoying some of the songs, because now I'm back into the lyrics and not being thrown off by the negative that I feel that's negative.
Yeah. All right. So Ray, what are you doing? Are you keeping this one or sending it back to the use bin?
I don't think it's her best stuff. I would send it back. She just has other great music, and this album just does not hold up compared to other things. So I think of like Speak Now is one I really like. She's done some great duets with other people. She did one with Ed Sheeran I really like.
Oh yeah.
Her original country stuff, as already mentioned, I love. And just like any other musician, sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. Like the one song that I thought this is the end of Taylor Swift, which is Big Reputation. I thought, where is she going with this? And then she had some good songs after that. This seems to just be one of the ones that's a little down tick to her next 40 million album that comes out after in the next couple of years, and all the power to the woman,
Yeah, and she's truly at this point review proof. She's critic proof.
Yeah.
Because she could release anything. She could say, my next album, I'm going to slobber in the mic for an hour into a beat, and that shit will still sell 1 million copies.
Oh yeah, Ride or Die are her fans.
Yeah, so it's nothing that any critic's going to say, even the ones who were a little bit meaner to this album. That's not going to make a difference. But I'm going to go with Ray. I'm definitely going to send it to the use bin, not because it's terrible, but because if I want to grab a Taylor Swift album, I have better choices.
Yeah.
Even if you take the cussing out, which it didn't faze me. I don't really care about the cussing. I just thought it was, I just, like I said, it kind of made me giggle. Like, all right, she's so tough. Look out. Her boyfriend will kick my damn ass. We know that much, but I'm not worried about her.
No, you could take Kelsey.
So Uncle Swifty says 5 stars. All right, well there you go. I know what I'm buying you for Christmas this year. Watch yourself. I got this shit on vinyl. I can send it to you.
I got brand new vinyl played once.
Yeah, I played it. I gave it three plays. I mean, I wrote my notes after the first listen to follow our rules, but yeah, I would send this one back to the use bin. Actually, I'm going to mail it to my Uncle Dave because he's Uncle Swifty now, and you got your late Christmas present on the way. So yeah,
I want him by 11 months.
I want him to change his Facebook name to Uncle Swifty.
There you go. You have a challenge, Uncle Swifty. Handle this. So yes, Uncle Swifty. You might already own this album. It's hard to say. If you're Uncle Swifty, you probably got them all 5 versions on, the Target version, the Walmart version, the clean version that we discovered exists today. And yes, we have, let's see, it's done.
Done.
Yes. Uncle Swifty.
David Swifty.
Yes. You are getting a
Swifty
Taylor
Davis.
Swift album for Christmas, or what, fuck it. I'll give it to you for Easter, whatever. Next time I see you, it is your gift because it's going to the used bin. And as I said, I'm not going to say I would never own a Taylor Swift album, but I don't feel the urge to keep this one. And yeah, somehow the record stores don't let you bring them back anymore. So
yeah.
Uncle Swifty's got it. He's going to get it for me, and he can bump it at his house and tell me why I'm wrong. And him and our one, who was her, what was her name that was telling us we were wrong? Those two can listen to Jess. Yes. So Uncle Swifty and Jess, this is for you. I will send it to either one of you. Give me your address. It is yours. So now we got to talk about next week. Next week, we're delving into a strange territory for me because I've never heard anything but one song from this artist, but it's kind of creating a byline for one of our other upcoming shows. And we're going to be looking at Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, 100 Days, 100 Nights. Now, I have not heard one song from this album. This is the first one I'm going into 100% blind. But the reason we're picking Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings is because when she passed away, her backing band, the Dap Kings, became the backing band for Amy Winehouse. And we're going to be covering an Amy Winehouse album in a few weeks. So I kind of wanted to make that byline where we start with where her band began with Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. And when she passed away, I believe she passed away from cancer. I'll know more when I do my research before that show, of course. But she passed away, and the Dap Kings ended up becoming the backing band for Amy Winehouse, who will be covering after Dash's pick. So that'll be, I guess, in about 3 weeks. So Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings next week. And I don't know, Dash, have you heard anything of hers before?
I have never heard anything by her ever. So this looks exciting. And
yeah, it's something brand new.
I'm an Amy Winehouse fan, so this ought to be.
What about you, Ray? Do you know any of her stuff?
I don't know her stuff. I do know that I do know the Dap Kings from Amy Winehouse, but I didn't realize it was this was the woman the Dap Kings were with prior. Yeah,
so they did multiple albums together, and when she passed away, they went and played with Amy Winehouse for her last years. And yeah, it should be interesting, kind of our first connected albums that we're doing. So yeah, next week, tune in for this album, and yeah, tell us we're right, tell us we're wrong. I honestly have no idea where I'm going to fall on this one, so I'm excited because I'm coming in, kind of like you, like Ray. I know the Dap Kings, but not Sharon Jones and her stuff. So I'm excited to listen to it. So tune in next week. If you liked what you heard today, like and subscribe. If you didn't, blame Dash. And
controversy.
Yes. So
listen. No hard feelings, Swifties. I do love. There's a lot of songs that I do like by Taylor Swift, and I do mean that. But this album just didn't do anything for me.
Yes, we love you, Swifties. Here's your challenge. Go out and play the Soccer Mommy album we covered in one of our early weeks, and find some amazing songwriting by an artist that's not getting enough love out there. So please, Swifties, if you are still listening and you haven't thrown your computer in anger, if you have, apologies.
Punch your monitor.
Yeah. If your monitor's cracked right now because these fucking old guys kept trashing your Swift, it's cool. We apologize.
Who is this Taylor Swiftness, and what is his music all about?
Uncle Swifty has your back. That's all you need to know. So,
Uncle Swifty.
So yes, please tune in next week. Please like and subscribe if you like what you heard. If you didn't like what you heard and you want to tune in next week to yell at us, like and subscribe. All right. Until next week. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Wednesday, same time, same place. And Ray, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I'll see you in a couple weeks, Ray.
Thank you very much. Yes, talk to you soon. We'll talk about the bad caps, but that's a story for another time.
Sounds good.
That's right.
Click on the tube and feel the vibe. Every show you crave right here live. Heroes and villains clash in the night. Madness Comic Network sets it right. Scroll through the list, find what you need. Epic battles and fast-paced speed. From capes to cosmic space delight. Tune in and watch your favorites ignite. On Facebook, share the thrill so grand. On X, the buzz across the land. Madness Comic Network all around. In every episode, joy is found. Uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days. Hey! New uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends. Catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic bright.